You're listening to Analytical Media. Today, we're going to take actual correspondence from persons who claim to be gang stalking victims, who claim to be targeted individuals, and share them with you. Let me read the first one. Dear Dr. So-and-so, hello, my name is blank blank, and I am a victim of gang stalking. I couldn't find any research papers pertaining to your knowledge of gang stalking, except a small paragraph on a page. You're selling a book. Have you sought out to gain any correct information on what this program entails and the agencies responsible for these attacks on innocent citizens? Did you read or hear the news about an American diplomat at the U.S. Embassy in Cuba experiencing and reporting the same symptoms as TIs? They have concluded that microwave weapons and direct energy weapons were involved. There is more disinformation on the web than the truth. A large percentage of people that first hear about this matter are quick to jump on the bandwagon that we are all crazy, wearing tinfoil hats, and people around them are stalking them. This couldn't be more further from the truth. There is an overflow of trolls and fake Facebook profiles and TI groups that make us look like a joke. Let's stop and look at what has been said so far by the writer. He mentions the attack in Cuba, the event in Cuba. There is no conclusion as to what happened to those people. It's possible, and that's the P in possible, that some type of direct energy weapon, some type of microwave weapon was used, but no one knows for sure. No one's concluded that. And even if it were proven true in Cuba, it does not mean that it would be true in your case. You have to give me that. Just because it was true once, it doesn't mean that it will be true always. But we don't know that it was true. But if it were true, remember, the embassy where this occurred had fixed buildings around it. Everything was a fixed location. Equipment could be set up a certain distance away. Things could be modified. It's a big deal. It's an attack on the U.S. Embassy and the people in it. It wasn't an attack on Manuel Ortiz, who lives down the street from the embassy, or John Smith in his little house down from the embassy, or on a tropical fishing port around Cuba, or at Guantanamo. The point is, there's a big difference between a big government building and adjacent buildings, big buildings, multi-floored buildings, and some house where the neighbors of Manuel, Cortez, Ortiz, Smith, Jones, the neighbors live in the same kind of house. It's really close. I mean, you'd know if the Cuban government had taken over one of the houses and was projecting weaponry in. Hell, you could look through the window. Everybody in the neighborhood would see things moving in and out. What I'm saying is there's a big difference. You cannot generalize this possible attack at the Cuban embassy, our embassy in Cuba. You can't generalize that to Joe Blow, 1023 Main Street in Indianapolis, Indiana. You can't do it. It's not the same. There's a difference. You have to realize that. It's a big difference. First of all, what importance do you have? What importance? How important are you in the world? Now you could say, well, I'm not important at all. That's why they're just testing it on us, the unimportant people. However, they used it on very important people, meaning they were people who were known, identified. Many people knew about them. They had all their government credentials. They were representing us in Cuba. So an attack against them was an attack against the American government, and it would be worth it to them. To the Cuban government, it would be a valuable target. But Juan Valdez Ortiz Curtis, he's nobody. John Smith, he's nobody. He's not in the American government. He has nothing to do with this or that. There's no reason. He's of so little value. And what is the cost then to that government, to Cuban government, or our government, any government? What's the cost of these attacks? You know what people make. To have 10 people involved attacking 10 people, 10 persons who are working for the government, to have them attack a government citizen, a U.S. citizen, would have to come at an enormous cost. If you had 10 people involved, it could be $1 million with benefits and insurance and IRAs. It could be $1 million. For what purpose? To prove it could be done, which was already supposedly in the argument. It was already proven to be done in Cuba and also all over the country. If we're to believe all the people who claim to be targeted, this has been done, redone, overdone, done 1,000 times more than that. Perhaps now 10,000 times or more. What are they proving? That you can get on someone's nerves, you can make them sick? Don't you think they know that already? Do they need any more gang stalking victims? We can understand why the Cuban government might have done that to attack the American government, to pay them back. We can understand that. But nobody claims that the Cubans used this on Juan Valdez Manuel. They don't claim that. It was the Cubans used it against the American government, a worthy, worthwhile, worth the cost opponent. But they didn't do it to their own private citizens that we're aware of. And yet we're claiming that this was done to our private citizens by our government. The writer goes on to say that there is more disinformation on the web than the truth. And boy, we would certainly agree with that. But the truth can always be supported with evidence. In fact, it must be. And he goes on to say that a large percentage of people are quick to jump on a bandwagon that we are all crazy wearing tinfoil hats and that people around them are stalking them. Well, you're either wearing tinfoil hats you're crazy, or you're not crazy and you're not wearing tinfoil hats. It's provable one way or the other. And please remember this. We are perhaps the only channel, website, professional group that suggests gang stalking is feasible. It is possible. We are not saying it isn't true. We're saying it must be proven to be true, and you can't blame anyone, any individual, any group, any government agency. You cannot blame them for not believing you if you offer them no evidence. Isn't that true? If you say last night aliens appeared in my bedroom and used a special weapon that floated me above my bed and then out through the window, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. You claim it's true. But whoever you're reporting it to is going to want evidence. If you can give them evidence, say, well, do you have any evidence? And you say, oh, yeah, I got it all on my camera. I have a security system. It shows everything. Boom. You've proven something no one else has done. You've proven the existence of aliens and how they interact with American citizens. Or you say, well, I didn't have any cameras, but if you come in my room, you'll see where the wall was burnt by this beam, and they come in, and sure enough, there's some strange burn marks on your wall. It's not complete proof, but believe me, they're going to give you much more credibility, credence. So, whoa, there were strange marks on the guy's wall. I don't know where else they could have come from. It must be some type of energy weapon or some high energy source. But if you say, nah, nothing happened, no, they examined you and did all these things, yep. Well, you have any marks? Got any red marks, any bruises? And you say, no, I don't have any red marks or scratches or bruises. Well, they're going to find it hard to believe you. And why would you expect them to believe you? If I came into your home and said, look, I've got this magic fluid right here, and for $10,000, I'm going to give you a gallon of it, and it'll turn silver and copper to pure gold. Give me 10,000. Here you go. Here's your gallon. Are you going to believe me? I don't think anybody's going to give you $10,000 for a gallon of this liquid without proof that it works, without proof that I am telling the truth. Now, if you say, here, I've got a penny and a quarter. I want you to turn them into gold. And I say, okay, give me the penny and a quarter and leave the room. You leave the room. And then a couple of minutes later, I call you back and I say, here you go. Here's a gold penny and a gold quarter. Now, are you going to give me the $10,000? Or are you going to think, no, he's lying because he could have had a pocket full of gold quarters and pennies, nickels and dimes? Are you going to give me the $10,000? Now, you say, no, I'm not going to give you the money, but I want you to do it in front of me. And I say, well, why didn't you tell me? And then I take your change, your handful of change, you put it in a bowl, I pour some liquid on it, boom, they turn into gold. Now do you believe me? Well, most of you would. But some of you would still say, I might be a magician. Might be a trick. So let's stop right there. Are you going to give me $10,000? No. But at the very beginning, you were never going to give me $10,000. You still aren't now. But what if I said, okay, give me $100. I'll give you a quart of this. In other words, in the beginning, you weren't going to give me a penny because it sounded so outrageous. You weren't going to give me $50, $500. You weren't going to buy half a gallon for $5,000. You wanted proof. But now, you might give me $500. You might buy 2 cups. Why? Why are you now willing to risk $50, $100, $500? Why? Because you have some evidence that it works. You don't have conclusive proof. We don't have controlled experiments, but seeing is believing, and you've been seeing this product work. Maybe not $10,000 worth of convincing has taken place, but maybe, I'd say in most cases, $100 worth of convincing took place, maybe $500. Why are you willing to pay some money now, $50, $100, $500, and you weren't earlier? Because evidence has taken place. There's been proof handed to you, not convincing proof. You're not completely convinced that this liquid will turn metal into gold. You're not convinced, but you're partially convinced. You're believing it a little bit now, or a little bit more, or quite a bit. I can guarantee you if I was selling that gallon for $5 at that point, you'd buy it. $10, $20. No big deal. You have some proof. In the beginning, you had no proof. Then you had no confidence. You've been given some proof, and now you believe to some degree. And that's what government agencies and the police need, to believe you. You're making an outrageous claim. Now you say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. This isn't outrageous, it's the truth. This is what happens to me. This is what I see out my window. This is what I see when I'm driving down the road in my rear view mirror. But he doesn't know that's true. You see it. You hear it all the time. But he's never seen it. He's never heard it. He just has you telling him it's true. And we know that there are delusional people in this world. Lots of them. If you don't believe me, talk to a psychologist, talk to a clinician, talk to a psychiatrist. Ask them, are there delusional people in this world? And they will tell you, yes. You need evidence. There's no evidence with delusions. That's what's common with TI reports for the most part. They have no evidence to prove it, and the delusional person has no evidence that they can offer that the guy next door is really an alien from the planet Zoran who's planning to come over and kill him and his family. You need some proof. You could say, well, I overheard it. I overhear him talking about it. Well, then turn on a tape recorder. Sound is recorded by your eardrum, and sound is recorded on a microphone. But sounds do occur inside the brain that bypass the eardrum altogether. Those have always been known as delusions, hallucinations, a part of a delusion. But now we've invented a new thing, or people are talking about a new thing. Skull to brain technology. Something hits your skull, it goes into your brain. Voice to skull. V2K. Sounds good. Sounds really high tech. V2K. Voice to skull. This guy claims that there's a high rate of Christians being targeted, as well as ex-military, which he is. What evidence does he offer that that's true? Where does he get this information? Ex-military? Show me the report, the study. An extremely high rate of Christians. Get that? Not a high rate, extremely high rate of Christians. They're going after the Christians. So Christians aren't going after Christians. You got to be a different religion going after Christians. Who are they? Atheists? Muslims? The Jews? What's being implied here? Without evidence. Give me some evidence. If you can't give me that evidence, you can't give it to the authorities. Can't give it to police officers, government agencies. Now here are some of the symptoms that this man reports to us. First of all, he experiences a lot more torture than the average targeted individual. Show us what the normal amount of torture is to the average TI. Show us that so we can look at yours and compare it. Or is this just your experience, your claim to be tortured more than the average TI, when in reality you don't know what the average TI experiences? So why would anyone believe you if you're talking about something that you don't know? How do you know how much the average TI experiences? Thus you can say, well, I got a lot more than that, than average. So what is average? 4.9 and you're 12.3. Pain in the knee, pain in the back, headache, that's average, and you got knee, hip, neck, back, migraines. You offer nothing. Why would someone believe your point of view? I am in a system that includes RNM. That's remote neural monitoring, or also known as brain hacking, and V2K. V2K, voice to skull. My heart and brain are targeted the most, and it is very scary and intense. I honestly feel my heart burning and beating at an extreme speed. It is very time-based with precision and synchronicities. Could it be real? Of course it could be real. Is it wrong to assume this man is mentally ill? Yes, it is wrong. He goes on to say that he ended up in a psych ward and was falsely diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder and was put on medicine that only did more harm. He said he's lost his family except for his mother and father. He lost his house, his job, his friends, his vehicle, his pets, and most importantly, he's lost his freedom and privacy. He says, I'm going to leave you with 2 links with credible information. The first is a book called Soul Catcher. This is a man who was a contractor that helped develop the technology. And after he found out they were using it for the wrong reasons, he left his career with many top government agencies. Do you have proof of that? The second one has a lot of information about RNM and V2K. I hope you take the time to gain more knowledge into this serious matter. Why do you think we need more knowledge? Is it because you assume you're the only one who knows, or only people who have heart attacks know what heart attacks are? You think a cardiac surgeon or doctor or cardiologist who's never had a heart attack or a stroke that they shouldn't be practicing medicine? Don't you think they have studied it? In fact, that cardiologist has studied heart attacks more than anyone who had a heart attack, except for that of another cardiologist. He assumes that the world does not believe in targeted individuals, in gang stalking. And thus, if you don't believe in it, it's because you haven't read the book and read the other book, gone to the website. No, that's not true. People don't believe you because don't you recognize you've offered no evidence? To you, it might be enough evidence. To any other human being, it would not be. You're not believed because we don't have the knowledge to understand this, or we don't know all about what happened in Cuba. It's not that. Or that we don't understand schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. We do. We understand hallucinations and delusions. We do. We understand science also. We, professionals, mental health professionals, understand the mind and psychology. We understand science. We understand what's possible in physics and in the quantum world. Strange, bizarre things where two things can exist in the same place at the same time, or different places at the same time, where matter can double or not exist at all, and everything is just a possibility and not a reality. Things function as waves. We understand this as much as one could. We understand hallucinations and delusions. We understand human nature. We understand what goes through the mind of a police officer, a government worker, or a therapist. When you make a claim, you must offer evidence. Carl Sagan. Do you know who Carl Sagan is? He had a regular television show on PBS. He was perhaps the world's best known scientist at the time, known around the world, considered an expert in science, all the sciences, cosmology, physics. He said this: extraordinary claims. You make an extraordinary claim. Extraordinary, extraordinary, like you're targeted. People are reading your thoughts from a distance. They're using new weaponry that no one knows about, that's never been seen, never been proven to exist. They do crazy, wild things. You say this is happening to you. These extraordinary things are happening to you. Well, he says, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Ordinary claims, they require ordinary evidence. But extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Keep that in mind if you're targeted. Making extraordinary claims, get extraordinary evidence, or at least some evidence. Not something you read on the internet about what happened in Cuba a long time ago. Not something from Reddit. Not something from somebody who claims this is happening to them. However, they have no evidence either. Look for evidence. Get evidence. We've talked about this. You're going to have to present that to the police because they're only going to sort of a little bit believe anything you have to say if you have no evidence. It's just a claim. You just claim this happened to you. They need more than a claim. They need a little bit of proof. Something to move forward on. You should recognize that. You're claiming extraordinary things are happening to you. Strange, bizarre things. Incredible things. Dozens of people follow you around. What would the cost of that be? Why would they be doing this? To prove it can be done? Well, for many years people have claimed exactly that. So we believe it could be done, or we believe those people are paranoid. When you have extraordinary claims that your brother doesn't have, claims that the guy next door doesn't have, in fact, you don't know anybody around you who claims this to be true, then you need some evidence. Why you? Don't forget, stay open to the fact you have a logical mind, you're a reasonable person, you're not insane. Then consider this. Everything you're describing could be the same as a delusion. Read about delusions. Maybe I should give you some places to go, some links to read about delusions and hallucinations. No one is saying that what's happening to you is not real. Take comfort in that. Lots of people do automatically say, you're crazy. We're not saying that at all. We're saying, don't expect us or anybody else to believe you if you haven't gone to the trouble or don't understand the necessity for acquiring evidence. Some evidence, a little bit, the more the better. You need some evidence. This is Analytical Media. We hope this has helped shed some light, help people who are targeted to understand, to be believed they need evidence. No evidence, expect to be labeled crazy, nuts. But at least, of course, there's no evidence that you're crazy or nuts, so we don't support that conclusion. However, at least accept the fact that without evidence, no one will consider your claims to be credible, believable. That's all that means, credible, believable. Get that evidence. This is Analytical Media. We hope this has helped you to some degree. Help us by liking this, subscribing, sharing it with a friend. All of that will help us to get this message out to more people. Until then, please take care.